morning everyone, it's Carol here. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a glorious day here in the UK today. I've been sat here at my craft desk for about 10 minutes now, looking out of the double window that's here in front of my craft desk, and I'm looking out onto the garden. It is a very chilly day out there. It's about 1 degree, but the sun is shining and everything is covered in a white hoarfrost. It looks spectacular with the sun sparkling and dancing off the frost out there. So it's one of those days when all is right in the world, and it feels a little bit magical with it being the run up to Christmas. So what better day to do some crafting? And as you can see, I've got a guest check in front of me. I've got number 35, and the prompt for 35 that Amy set us was yellow. So I've got a couple of stencils here that I'm going to be using. I've got a couple of bee stamps that I've already lifted out. These are very old stamps of mine. I've got some archival ink, and I've done a little bit of stamping already. I had a scrap of this background from another project that I was playing with, so I stamped a couple of those bee images, and I've done some more on some of this very, very fine acetate or packaging. Oh, I've also got a couple of pieces of card here. This one has been cut to the size of my guest check, and this is the scrap that was left over. Now, I might be using this, I don't know, or I might be just using it to test out colours and things like that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glossy accents on the body of these 4 bees, and then I'm going to cut out the wings of these bees, and then I will come back. So here we go. I've got 4 sets of bee wings cut out from the acetate, and I'm just going to pop these to one side. Just put some glossy accents on the body of my bees, and I'm going to set this aside to dry now. So I'm going to go in now and do my background. I've got some Distress Oxide Fossilised Amber, and that's obviously the spray. I've got some Wild Honey, and I've got some Peel Paint, and these are both Distress inks, and I've got blenders. So what I thought I would do initially is to go in with a spritz of the Fossilised Amber, and then do some blending with the Peeled Paint and Wild Honey over the top. And there we go. I'm quite pleased with how that looks. And this is not mixed media paper. This is just some lightweight, probably about 120 gram cardstock that I just had lying around in the craft room, and I decided to use it. So it still gives a really nice result just on plain cardstock, nothing special. So I'm going to go in now with some Wild Honey and just blend that onto my piece. What I want to do is use my stencil now, and I'd like to come in with a little bit of Distress Oxide Vintage Photo on here, but I'm just using it very, very lightly, just dusting over the surface, hardly touching it at all. And I can always go in with more if I feel that I'm not picking up enough detail, and I'm really liking that, just a little hint of it. So I'm going to carry on and do it in a few more places. I try to be a little firmer around the outside edges, and perhaps again, probably in here, I think. And maybe a little bit more just across this corner here. Yep, I'm liking that. So I'm going to give that a rinse in a second, but before that dries, I'm going to go in with my other stencil and again try and pick up some more colour. And just trying to decide whether to do this over the top, and I think I will. So I'm going to kind of go in like this. And that's the sort of effect I'm getting there. So I'm getting the positive and the negative. So I'm going to go in and do some more of that down the side here. And there we go. This is what my background is looking like now, and I think you can pick up the shimmer from that Biscotti shimmer mist. I've gone in with some splatters as well over the top, a few more, and I've also coloured up this scrap that I had earlier on, and I've passed it through my die cut machine. I will put the details of all the products and the die cut and everything in the description box down below, and I was thinking of using this on my piece, something like that, up in that corner. So what I'm going to do now is very carefully snip it out and see what it looks like. Gluing this down didn't quite go according to plan, and I ended up with a thicker border down here. I have trimmed a bit of this away, but I wanted it nice and fine like this one. But I'm thinking that if I go in with my vintage photo, then that will soften that edge down. There we go, and it's not quite as noticeable now. Unfortunately, this is where my computer decided to throw a little glitch and everything went into slow-mo. What I'm showing you here is a product called Feng Shui Colour Therapy, and again I'll put the link in the description box below the video. And it is a glitter top coat, and I think it's called Harmony, this particular one, and that's what I'm trying to show you there on the top of the container. I picked this up at a craft store that was holding a sale, and this was reduced down to, I think, round about £1.50. So I couldn't resist buying it, bringing it home to give it a try, but it's gorgeous. So I'm just opening the top here, and what I thought I would do with this is take a paintbrush and just pick random sections in the stencil, sorry, not the stencil, the die cut, and just put some of the top coat inside some of those hexagons, as I say, just randomly, so that when it dries it just gives a hint of interest on that top left hand corner. So as you can see, very slowly here, I wasn't being so delicate, I can tell you. As you can see, I'm just going in with my paintbrush, I'm grabbing some of the top coat, and I'm just swirling it around inside the hexagons. So I will move on now and show you what it looks like when it's dry. So this is what it looks like now that it's dry, and I think you can probably just pick up the shimmer in some of those little honeycombs. Out of that scrap of spare card, I've just created a little tag, and as you can see, I've just cut out a couple of hole reinforcers using my crocodile and this EK Success 1/2 inch punch. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on these and stick them onto my tag, just like that. Punch a hole with my crocodile. Should have done that first really, but I didn't, so it doesn't really matter. And just glue the other hole reinforcer on the back. And I'm going to go in now with my Distress Oxide vintage photo, just around the edge of my tag. Just taking away some of the stark whiteness on the back. This is not really going to be seen, but I just wanted to have it not so stark, like that. I'm going to come in again with my blending tool and my stencil here, just to add a little detail on here. There we go. Now I thought I would come in with a little bit of this Distress Texture Paste Opaque. As you know, I absolutely love this, I really do. And I was thinking of colouring it or colourising it with this Biscotti, but I don't think I will do. I think I'll leave it as it is, but I'll just grab a little bit of texture paste out of there. And what have I done with my stencil? Oh, it's here. So I'm going to go in with another part of my stencil and just pick up a little bit of this on here. Just going to pull that off gently like that and just lift that up. And I'm liking just that little bit of detail in the corner there. So this is what my baby tag looks like now that I've gone round it with the texture paste. And what I thought I would do now is do some edging on both the mini tag and this piece. I am desperate to stitch with my sewing machine, but I'm trying to stop myself because I do that all the time. So I thought I would go in with one of these Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens. These are all different size nibs, as you can see. So I'm going to go in with the small. So there we go. Let's grab one of these. And I'm just going to do a little bit of gentle doodling around the outside edge of both this piece and my little tag. So here we go. So I'm just going to go in and all I'm doing is a line and a little squiggle. Like that. Okay. And the same on this little tag. So I'm just going to come down in the corner. So there we go, everybody. I hope you can see just that little bit of doodling that I've just done around the edge. Sorry, I've got glue on my hands there, and similarly on the little tag. So what I thought I would do with the tag is just pop it on there like that, maybe a little bit higher so I can pick up these splatters down here. And now I want to go in with my black archival ink. This is Jet Black, and my stamps, and just do a few random stamped images of bees on here. Thinking that I'll go in with the little bee. Let's put some ink on him there and go in with him on the little tag here, like that, and this one about here. Like that. I'm going to bring in the ones I stamped earlier, and the glossy accents is now dry. I've got my wings there. I've got some art glitter glue here, and what I thought I would do next is glue this onto my guest check. So let's get on with that. I'm just going to go in very quickly with my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo just to get rid of that white edge from the guest check. And now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this. So this is just a decorative feature. I'm not having it so that it's a proper tag by any means. And I'm just going to pop that on there like that and hold it in place for a second or two. Try and get it straight, obviously. Just check that that is. Sorry, I've still got glue all over my hands here today. I'm just going to just check that that is straight. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, so that's on there like that. I'm going to quickly cut out the body of my bees, just looking to see which one is the best. I'm liking this one, so I'm going to go in with this one. So I'm just going to cut this one out very quickly. Just going to go around the edge of my cut image, just using a black Sharpie, just again to get rid of that white edge. You could use ink if you wanted to, but I find that the end of these pens is great because it's so fine it can get into all the corners. So that's one. And now I'm going to cut out the body of one of the little bees. And again, I'm just cutting out the body where I applied the glossy accents. Again, going around it with my Sharpie. Just a little art glitter glue on the back. And I'm just going to glue it on top of the image that I've just stamped. Same again with this one. And then that gives that some dimension on there. I'm just going to leave those to settle for a second or two. My glue is now grabbed and is holding my glossy accent bodies onto my bees. So I've got now some more glossy accents, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit more on the bodies, just to give a little bit more dimension. And then I'm going to take a pin and use some of this and just draw a line over things like the legs and the antennae. So just encouraging a little bit of the glossy accents from the pin down the legs of my bees. And if you do this fairly quickly before the glossy accents starts to dry too much, then you don't get any marks in the actual body where you've put the additional glossy accents. And it just helps to bring things together, I think. And I'm going to do the same thing on the little bee here. And there we go, everybody. I'm not sure whether you can pick those up, but it just kind of highlights the leg and the antennae a little bit. And whilst the glossy accents on the abdomens are still wet, then I'm just going to take one of the wings and I'm just going to fold it in half and just drop it down onto the glossy accents on its body. Now this one has had a minute or two to dry, so it should grab it nicely. And I'm just going to hold that in place for a second or two to encourage it a little bit more. I finished gluing on the acetate wings on the big bee, and I put a little bit more of the glossy accents over the top, and it's looking a little bit opaque now, but it will dry clear like the body will. That's already drying quite nicely. And then I went in and did the same thing and put some acetate wings on the tiny little bee. I can't write on the back that this is prompt number 35 yet, because obviously these will need to have a good period drying. I will do some photographs at the end of the video, but it probably will still show that as fairly opaque until it dries properly. It's obviously drying well on the body here, but not that latest bit I put on there. But at least the photographs will show, I hope, the splatters that I put on the main tag here, or the main guest check here, with the biscotti, which are a lovely gold colour, and the iridescence inside the honeycomb up there. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed seeing this piece come together, and I think it does meet the prompt for yellow, don't you? So take care, everybody, until the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye now. Bye.